Hello, and thank you for joining us on our Patreon page. We are Johnny and Emily Spigelmire.
Yes, we're so glad you're here. If you're here, you probably know us from our podcast, Beyond Broken Vows. But if you don't, we'll just tell you a little bit about ourselves.
Yes, so Emily and I have been married for 37 years. Sadly, though, because of a lifelong addiction to pornography that ultimately led to 3 sexual relationships with women that were not my wife, we now have a story to tell through our podcast of betrayal and addiction. But the hope in that we share with everybody is what Jesus Christ has done in our lives since then.
Yes, He's the God of redemption, and this is a redemption story, and it's God's story.
Amen to that.
And why we are on this Patreon platform is to give us a chance to connect with you on a deeper level. You know, we want to give you more access to us.
Yes.
We want to get to know you better. And so we've launched this Patreon platform so that we can give you guys some more resources and at the same time have you support our ministry and the continuing vision that God has given us for Beyond Broken Vows.
So, as you've already picked up, our primary drive for the ministry work that we do is the podcast, where Emily and I share very openly and vulnerably and very transparently our story as we have worked our way from betrayal to recovery and to living what others might call a normal life, although we wouldn't call our life normal anymore. But that came as a result of God letting Emily know that it was time to talk publicly about our entire story. And so here we are. We're doing it through a podcast so that we can communicate 2 really big ideas. First one is that you're not alone in this. Second one, there is hope. And that hope comes through Christ.
Yes, and God has been so faithful thus far. You know, it's really exciting because we started this podcast a year ago, and now we are actually ranked in the top 2% of all podcasts globally. So He is getting this message out to those who are hurting, and we are just really glad to be along for the ride, really.
But that's where you come in. Your partnership with us will give us the ability to grow the ministry in many new ways, and not the least of which would be able to expand into our full-time coaching program.
We want to put more into our podcast, more episodes, maybe twice a week, something like that.
Yes, that's right.
We just don't have the bandwidth right now, and we don't have the time or resources to pull things like that off. It's really time consuming, and we want to get more guests on the show. We also want to do things like speaking engagements.
Right.
Into churches, especially because this problem is huge in the church and it's just not being talked about.
That's right, Emily. And a few things that we're looking ahead toward in the future is blogging on this subject, and dare I say, even write books about sharing our experience. We are also currently developing a course, but our big picture is that we would really love to be able to gather folks together for weekend healing retreats.
Yeah, these are pie in the sky sort of
Yes.
dreams, vision casting, but it's all things that God has laid on our heart that we would like to move towards. And so we just need help. We just want to be honest. This is something that, we never planned. We never anticipated going through this devastation in our marriage. And now that we have come through it successfully, we knew we were going to tell our story someday, but we never imagined that it was going to be through podcasting. But now that it is, we really want to do everything we can to offer as many resources as possible.
And with the highest quality possible.
And so we're not just asking for help, we want to give help as well. And so if you're going to partner with us, you'll get some really great benefits. There's several tiers. You can look at the different tiers and then prayerfully consider with your spouse where you see yourself fitting into this ministry in support of us.
Thank you so much for joining us here. And to paraphrase 2 Corinthians chapter 1, we are helping those who need help out of the help that we ourselves have received from God. That's why we do it, and that's what makes it all worth it.
Yeah, so we'll see you again soon.